Hey, what's up again? This is Elib from Ksoundd.com here once again with Studio One Expert, and this time we're going to focus on the drums. So I had a little time that I spent on this track trying to get it to my liking. So last week we talked about the melody and we added a few elements, but this time we're going to go into the drums, and this is what makes it a hybrid. So when we start the track off, we're going to start it off right here. It sounds like it's going into a dance track, and that's actually was the first direction. Well, at least it sounds like it. So I have all these cool things going on. And I actually have my pad side kick or side chain with the side kick. All right, so I had some things muted or whatever because I changed some things around. But let me show you how I sidechain the kit. So basically, what you want to do is you want to have another kick, and this is basically what this kick sounds like. So if I brought up the volume here, it just was a kick that I brought over from the loop section. It don't matter what it is. It can be any type of kick. It really doesn't matter. But this is the kick, right? And so because I sent it to my pre-fader, so by default it's going to be blue. So if you click this little line here and you bring it all the way up, bring your your line all the way up, and you actually turn it down. If you mute it, this is what happens. It's not going to, nothing's going to happen. Allow me to show you how I sidechain this whole situation here. So basically what you have to do is you pick a kick, right? You do what you just saw me do. And what you have to do is you have to make sure you put a compressor on the affected instrument. In this case, it's my massive here. This is a pad sound. There's a compressor here. So we're going to go here. Basically, if this was an empty track, I will go here to side chain, but I already have done that. So basically, we're going to go here and find the massive track, and it has to be the compressor here. So here's master insert one because this is track one, or plug-in one on this track here. And so if I double click on this compressor here, you can see my side chain has a blue, it's highlighted blue here. And I messed around with the parameters to get it to sound like I need to, hence the pumping effect. Now, if I was to mute this kick, nothing happens. But the cool thing about this is I can just, bring down the track itself all the way down. But I can't mute it, which can be bad or good, because once you start doing things like bringing up the CT1 here, the CTC1 or the console shaper, and if you're doing that crossover thing, you're going to probably hear the kick. So, yeah, that's one of those things. But anyway, so that's what I have going on right here. And by default, this is going to be blue, but I sent it to my pre-fade. I turned it on, so it's always on. So if I have it on blue, you're not going to hear it. And basically, if it's blue, it depends on how high you have it. So now, you know what I'm saying? But now, that's not what I want in my track. So let's turn that off. Let's mute it. Right? So that's pretty cool. So I'm sure you guys already heard the track, the new track that I've added here. So this is what it sounded like before. If I can mute all of this, just want to show you guys where I was going with this track before. that's what I was going, where I was going first, but had to change my mind. So then, you know, we had to change up things. Hence the whole idea of this whole concept, hybrid. So we had to bring in some elements, some other elements that make it, that give it that hybrid sound. So this is now a mixture of trap, hip hop, R&B, dance, EDM, or whatever you want to call it. You know, adding some of these elements here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and identify each of these drums here and label them, and so we can properly bounce them out. So we, you know, can tell, you know, everything apart. So if we got everything labeled as whatever, you know, that's just like get lost. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna solo this one here and see what this is. So we're gonna label that hat because it's an 808, and this one is all right. So now that we have the name of everything, all of the drums here, we're going to go ahead and highlight them all and bounce them in place. All right, so now I have everything bounced in place. This will be almost equivalent as to bringing over something from your loop section, because now everything is wave. And to me, I think this is very important. You can still have instruments, you know, as you can see, I have several instruments that are still existing in this track, but you know, when you start getting up in numbers, you know, I'm at about 35 tracks so far, your CPU will begin to eat away, and so you kind of want to keep that in mind. So now I can actually realistically get rid of this track here, but I feel like I'm going to add more drums to this here. But I can go ahead and get rid of this here because I don't need that anymore. I'll keep that there for my drums. Anything else I'll add. And so it's always easier to work with wave files, in my opinion. And I'll say I like to make my drums mono. Unless they have, you know, unless there's some type of stereo imaging about the drums, I will leave, like sometimes the snare or claps have like the stereo thing, like there may be reverb in there. So, you know, in that regard, I will leave everything alone. But like, if you leave them, if you put them in mono, it just hit harder to me, in my opinion. Like right there, when I changed it to mono, it automatically you was able to hear that it, you know, it was like screaming at you right down the center middle. All right, I like to put a Transient Master on this kick here. So we're gonna start off with the preset of punch. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's change up the bass a little bit. I have massive here. It's a preset I made a long time ago. Forgot I even had it. All right, so let's start it. 2, 3, 4. So there's a wrong note somewhere, so we're gonna fix that. So let's check it out. All right, so that's all I'm gonna do for this video. I'm gonna just keep playing with it and see what we come up with later. I'm actually really digging this. I have a couple of alternatives as to the first route I was taking this track and where it is now. So I mean, we off to a good start. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned for next week, the last and final. We're gonna add the little bits and pieces, playing around with some effects, adding some ear candy to this joint, and making it do what it do. We'll try to make some sense out of all this by next week. All right, so stay tuned. Again, my name is Kevin Elib from Ksoundd.com here on Studio One Expert. You guys stay tuned in. Make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. Remember, music is art. You're the artist. Paint your picture.